3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. Today, we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite from May 22nd, 2023. Oh my goodness. This. All right. So, we're going to do news and notes, then we're going to do the review, and then we're going to do double or nothing, the predictions. So, we might be here for a little while. Strap right on in. Of course, the first note is that apparently the NBA will be going to NBC. The deal is pretty much done, which leaves AEW in the lurch. Now it's going to be a question of how is Warner Brothers going to handle their renewal. I do believe, I said it again, I said 100 times, I expect them to get a renewal. Do I expect them to get like $1 billion? No, I don't expect that. Warner Brothers Discovery without the NBA having bringing in viewers, that's going to be a tough sell when it comes to rights fees, and you may even see more cord cutting in terms of cable, because now people are like, I don't need cable to watch the NBA anymore, even though you kind of never did. But even the old-fashioned people won't need it anymore if the games end up on NBC, which means that Warner Brothers Discovery won't have the money to pay a lot of money to AEW. Some people are suggesting that AEW is going to get a bigger rights fee because now the company is going to be relying on them even more, while others are suggesting some kind of restructuring. I've heard whispers of the getting rid of Rampage and either making Collision or Dynamite 3 hours. I think you might as well just get rid of Rampage altogether. I don't care what you do with. I don't think AEW needs another hour, but you can get. I'm okay with getting rid of Rampage. My thoughts are that if the NBA is gone, that's a huge chunk of money that not only are they not spending on the NBA, but they are also not getting money in. Because the reason why they were spending so much money on the NBA is because the NBA draws so much. If that draw is gone, they're not going to have the money to give AEW a huge renewal. They may give them something, and it may even be a little bit more than what they're getting now. But do I expect it to be, in the neighborhood of what Monday Night Raw or SmackDown is getting? No, because once the NBA is gone, if that whole NBC thing, which I'm hearing is pretty much a done deal, once that's finished, you're probably going to see the numbers for the network go down, which means that you're talking about maybe this time next year, AEW is doing NXT numbers. I mean, they're already, negligible when it comes to NXT. But you're talking 600, 500,000 next year, maybe. Looking at if they lose the NBA, because then people are just not going to watch the network at all. And they probably won't even have the network at that point. So then they may decide to shore up Dynamite by giving them some money, making sure Dynamite's on the air. They may even stretch that Dynamite to the 3rd hour. But I do believe Rampage is probably gone. The reason why I even thought about that is because I noticed that they've decided to put Rampage right after Dynamite and right after Collision for almost like a month now. So it's almost like they're testing it out as it is, right? And they're trying to see, does it work as an extension of Collision, or does it work as an extension of Dynamite? And I think the ratings have been higher when they used it as a 3rd hour after Dynamite. So I would imagine that's the direction they're going to go in. Is they're probably going to try to make Dynamite 3 hours and just pay them a little bit more money to run Dynamite for 3 hours. And who knows what Collision is turned in with, Rampage is 2 hours. So you may even shrink that too. But I do expect them to get more money, and I do expect them to get a deal. Warner Brothers Discovery is now on the clock, because if they lose the NBA, then AEW is pretty much all they got left outside of like baseball, and maybe some hockey stuff. They may want to decide to get some WNBA games, which, could really help the WNBA. Probably wouldn't do AEW any good, though. So it's an interesting thing to discuss. Okay. Let's get into this show now. So AEW has a sponsorship with Mad Max Furiosa. I'm sorry, Furiosa. It's a Mad Max movie with no Mad Max. Me, MongoSlade, a guy who likes Mad Max, who loved the original, and Thunderdome. Road Warrior is tremendous. My favorite of the Mad Max movies is, of course, the Road Warrior. To see that Furiosa is getting her own movie. I mean, we could say the cliche things about, trying to replace men in these franchises. I just choose to let it die on the vine. Nobody's excited. Even people who love Mad Max, nobody's excited about this Furiosa thing. Will I watch it? Probably. I am a big fan of the post-apocalyptic genre. Whether it's comic books, anime, video games, etc. I love that you could tell a story in which the world has collapsed and there's new rules and there's a new society. I love that. And I think Mad Max did that very well. I think the Fist of the North Star does that very well. There's a lot of, shows, Walking Dead was really good at it for the first couple of years. But I don't know if you can take a franchise like Mad Max and then make a Mad Max movie with no Mad Max in it. That's just, it doesn't sit well with people like me. And then it's a good sponsorship because Mad Max has inspired so many wrestling gimmicks. There's been so many guys running around with tassels like, Demolition and the Legion of Doom, Lord Humongous. There's a lot of wrestlers named Lord Humongous. That the big Jason Voorhees guy that used to be in ECW, not just Jason Voorhees, but he was also walking around like a hockey mask, which was the Lord Humongous thing in Mad Max. There's just been so many wrestlers that have been inspired by Mad Max that it fits if it was a Mad Max movie, and I guess it is a Mad Max movie, but having Furiosa mixed into the entrance, it was like into the intro of the TV show. That sure was something, wasn't it? I don't even know who's the star of that movie. And I don't care. Don't tell me. I don't care. Match 1. Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay lose to Trent Beretta and Roderick Strong. Come on, brother. Come on, man. This was punishment. Why do I care about this? Roderick Strong ended up hitting Will Ospreay in the head with the belt after the match. Busted him wide open. He was bleeding and everything. Orange Cassidy. Oh, boy. Oh, him and Trent Beretta. Oh, my God. Oof. Can we just fire both of them off into the sun? All right, so our storyline for the night is that Darby Allin is banned from the arena. And that there is a bounty on the head of Bryan Danielson. So the Young Bucks, they're cutting terrible promos with flyers saying that he's banned from ringside. He's banned from the arena. He's passing out flyers, and then here comes Sanjay Dutt, who is literally a cartoon character. Sanjay Dutt, a human hat rack. I don't even understand why his organs still work. If I was his lungs, I would try to escape him. Sanjay Dutt is terrible, all right? He is no good. He is good at nothing. He's not good at wrestling. He's not good at talking. He's not good at playing a character. He's trying to be some kind of a sleazy agent here. Like, my boys are going to handle it. My Indian giant, he's going to handle that Bryan Danielson problem for you. And I'm like, ugh. Why don't you just beat him up? He sucks. And then he starts going into, he's going to break Bryan Danielson like a pencil. I'm like, what? Ugh. Somebody need to throw this kid in a closet. Like, we need to make some lockers and then shove him in there and close them and lock them with a combination lock, and then somebody loses the code. This was awful. This is truly the shits. And the cap of the night, bye, is the main event of this show is Bryan Danielson versus Satnam Singh. And what is easily the worst Bryan Danielson match I have ever seen. I've seen Bryan Danielson wrestle half conscious with one arm. He's had better matches than this. I've seen Bryan Danielson wrestle men that were trying to rob him from his house, and it was a better match than this. This Satnam Singh sucks in 8 different languages. 8 billion people in India. He's one of the 7,900,000,000 that decent people, and then this fucking bum. He's a bum. All right. He's useless. Oh my God. Oh, this was awful, bro. This is truly the shits. And it makes it even worse. Danielson actually got him beat by putting him in the crossface. He got his big meaty face in the crossface. And the match ends in a disqualification because you got to protect Satnam Singh. Because Jarrett and Lethal jump in the ring and jump Bryan Danielson. Danielson then fights back. They beat him up. Sanjay Dutt comes into the ring. He helps them beat him up. The Elite come down there. Well, the Young Bucks do. They actually pay Sanjay Dutt despite the fact that Bryan Danielson is still alive. They take off. Then the Young Bucks start beating up on Danielson. Then Danielson fights them off. And he's beating them up until Okada comes down to the ring. Well, he's just a distraction. He gets attacked from behind by Jack Perry. So the Elite are beating the tar out of Danielson. And then on the screen, you see a car drive up. And it's Tony Khan dropping off Darby Allin, who has lifted the ban on Darby Allin. Now, Darby Allin could go into the arena. And this son of a bitch has a flamethrower. And it's a flamethrower. One of the Young Bucks goes through a table. Everybody's scared to get anywhere near Darby Allin because he's got a flamethrower. He's wearing a pink coat. Let me tell you, brother, it's over with me. All right? The flamethrower is over with me. Darby Allin, he fucking sucks. But the flamethrower is cool. He clearly is never going to use it. So it's another one of those things like Janice or Spike or Chainsaw's Charlie's Chainsaw, where you're never going to actually use the damn thing. But it's a cool visual. And it comes across like this thing's out of control. It's one of those things that you don't expect to see. And you're like, whoa, somebody's crossing the line here. And him wearing a pink coat while doing it, it's extra badass. I like it. It fits also with the Mad Max theme, because it seemed like that would be something that you will see in a Mad Max movie, is somebody just walking around with a fucking flamethrower. Because Doomsday, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Could be so much fun. So I'm not looking forward to this match at all. This was the worst use of Danielson I've ever seen. Darby, whatever. But Tony Khan being the person that could ex-nay the Elite's rules, clearly. He's now apparently medically cleared and can travel. And I hated the match. I hated the post-match. The only thing I like is the flamethrower. If we could put the flamethrower in something that was actually cool, with people who are actually cool, I might be down for it. So I want to give it a plus 0.5 for the flamethrower. But I want to give it a minus 15 for subjecting me to Satnam Singh and the Young Bucks in the same segment with Sanjay Dutt. You know how I talk about firing people off into the sun? I want to sacrifice Sanjay Dutt to whatever volcano gods that used to exist back in the day. You know, the Aztecs and stuff. They used to cut people's guts open and take their stomachs and shit out and like sacrifice it to the rain gods. I would do that to Sanjay Dutt. He is that useless that I don't even think that the rain god would even want it. He'd probably take it and throw it back. You know, who the hell cares about Sanjay Dutt? Why was he on this show? I forgot he still existed. What a useless piece of garbage. Moving on. Bang Bang Gang. Jay Whitehall. He's out here. He's talking. Said Pac made 3 mistakes. One is he didn't run from them when he saw them. Instead, he looked them in the eyes. 2, he got in their business by trying to help when they were beating up somebody. And 3, he challenged them to make him feel. And while Jay White is talking, it's so quiet in there that somebody yelled, "Who wrote this shit?" And you can clearly hear it. I thought I was the only one that heard that. And then I looked on my social media and I see that, yeah, other people heard it too. And I was like, oof, Jay White. He came out with a belt wagon. He put all their belts in a luggage kitchen. Oh my God. Oof. Okay. So, this also was several minutes of them making fun of how Pac's name is pronounced because they couldn't figure it out. Jay White didn't know if it was Pac or Pac, which, to be quite honest, it doesn't really matter at this point, does it? But it went on a little long. Pac ended up showing up on the screen, reintroduced Death Triangle, which led to a big brawl, and then the challenge was made for Double or Nothing for the Death Triangle to wrestle the Bang Bang Gang. And I'm interested in that. I like that. Jay White, Pac, that could be extremely fun. Also, I know I have no reason to be a fan of Death Triangle, but I like those guys. I liked the Lucha Brothers since, 2019, 2018, maybe when I first saw them, or was it 2017? Lucha Underground. Liked them in TNA, have liked them here, felt like they've been kind of underutilized in AEW. Fan of Pac too, like him. I like Jay White, I like the Guns. I like all of these things. So it still feels kind of random, like they started picking on Pac for almost no reason, but okay. And so the Bang Bang Gang, the Young Boys, challenged the Lucha Brothers to a match on Collision and said that they'll defend the titles against them if they win. So right now, the match is not a championship match, even though the match is booked. Whatever. So I like these guys. This card is like super jam-packed, by the way, and probably didn't need 3 more matches added to it for no good fucking reason, but we're there, brother. We're going for AEW. They like to do marathon shows. They might as well do shows just, back-to-back nights. They can sell out the arena. All right. So here's hoping that's good at least. FTW number 1 contenders match, Hook, Brian Keith, and Shibata. This was trash. Brian Keith submits to both Shibata and Hook at the same time. So some dork in AEW, some supreme dork, watched NXT last night and saw a double pin and said, you know what? That's dumb as fuck. Why don't we do something even dumber by having a double submission? A double submission. And this is legal somehow. What are they doing? WWE does something stupid. AEW has to go, well, we're dumber than you, and go next level. So now it's a triple threat match, essentially. Jericho's on commentary being extremely fake. He's waving to everybody. Everybody's waving at him. This learning tree thing is working. I know everybody hates Chris Jericho now, but it's clearly working. He knows what he's doing. Jericho is a master of manipulating the audience. So he's starting to get this learning tree thing over by being disingenuously nice. Including his debate with Taz about FTW meaning for the world, which Taz is saying, that ain't what it's about. You know that, right? And Jericho's like, of course it is, my good friend Taz. I don't care about this. I don't care about Jericho wrestling these guys, man. Who gives a shit? Next, Konosuke Takeshita defeats Matt Sydal with a forearm shiver? Huh? Takeshita famously broke the internet, broke the AEW fans when he talked about wrestling for 12 years in Japan, which I did not know he was that old, unless he started wrestling when he was like 15 or something. But he stopped having fun when he came to the United States. And that got so many people like, oh my God, what's going on? What's happening? It's like he was a top guy and now he's not a top guy anymore. So he's not having fun. And I think he even made some comments about there not being room for Asian wrestlers on the roster. I was like, oh, brother, I need to find that quote, by the way. Here's his exact words. This is going to be interesting. He says, I thought hard work could cover for everything else before getting there. If I showed how good I am, I could get more airtime. But there are other aspects that come to play when competing here in America. Discrimination is not the word here, but unfortunately, there's a lack of space for an Asian person to be on a TV show watched by Americans. No matter how good my condition was, nor the amount of matches I was put in, or how many times they said my match was good, it felt like I couldn't make it to the starting lineup, to put it in baseball terms. Everyone felt like they're having fun wrestling here in Japan. I didn't have any fun wrestling ever since I got to America. The effort was bearing fruit, but I didn't feel the enjoyment. It was the most mentally exhausting period in all 12 years of my wrestling career. However, when I stopped having fun, my matches were better received and I gained more recognition. And it's not proportional. This company is the most Asian-friendly wrestling company outside of Japan. How could he get the argument that he's being discriminated against? What are you talking about, sir? This is probably the most Asian-friendly pro wrestling company outside of Japan. I mean, this company was built off people who love watching New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's really what it was. The reason why you're frustrated is because Tony Khan doesn't know how to book. Because Tony Khan is a trash promoter. That's the issue. It's not that you're being discriminated against. It's that Tony Khan is trash. He's basura. Bat guano with the pencil, okay? He's not good. Now, I know there's only 3 Asian guys on AEW's entire roster. Takeshita, Ibushi, Okada. And Ibushi is hurt and probably done. He's shot. All right? He's washed. He's washed right on out. So, and Okada is getting, some kind of a legacy run right now with the Elite. So he's kind of like a non-New Japan guy who has been brought over. He was kind of bland. Nothing particularly interesting in him. And he's starting to do something good. And then he stops. He starts and stops. And part of that is, again, Tony Khan's booking. But also part of it is your ability to communicate. If you could communicate in the United States, it would be a lot easier. The reason I bring this up, and I probably should have made its own video, but I decided not to, is Asuka talked about the differences between the WWE and Japan. I probably did a video on that. I'm pretty sure it's in my archive somewhere. And she talked about, the difference between athleticism and personality and that kind of stuff. It seems like Takeshita is not really catching that. And maybe he needs to talk to those girls. Maybe he needs to talk to Asuka. And, a phone call and say, hey, you've been over here almost 10 years, and they always find a spot for you. What are you doing? How is it working? The Great Muta made it a career here for a long time. And I know these are sporadic people here and there, but some people have been extremely successful because they've been able to adapt. Takeshita has all the physical gifts to be a top level pro wrestler, but nobody knows what's going on in his head. We have to know what kind of person he is. What's going on in your mind, man? What are you thinking? What is your motivation? Why do you do this? I didn't even know the guy was old enough to be in the business for 12 years. Nobody told me that. It would have been nice if he could have told me that, right? Anyway, he wrestled Matt Sydal, who's, another one of these ROH mid-carders that still manages to keep a job. Which, it might be easier for people to move around in this company if they just got rid of everybody who was wrestling in Ring of Honor in 2007. I don't think Matt Sydal makes the cut because I think he might have been WWE at the time. In any event, after the match, Takeshita is confronted by Jon Moxley and then promptly knocked down. So he's still not having any fun, guys. Moxley has triggered a lot of people over in Japan. There's a lot of the young guys that are very angry that Moxley doesn't spend a lot of time in Japan. I think Gabriel Kidd, who is basically like, I don't know, he's like some kind of drunken European loser. All he does is like yell and curse, but I know that's what they want, they want you to do in Japan. Talking about, how he's basically kidnapped the belt and disappeared. There's a lot of wrestlers. I'm not sure if they're in character or not that are upset about Moxley being the representative of New Japan. He's not there. He's not making the tour. He's not defending the title. Not in the country. And I would hope this is a gimmick, because if it's not, it's going to do not so well for their partnership in the future, because the guys are going to be very frustrated about this. Swerve Strickland defeated Nick Wayne. So I wrote Nick Carter. I don't know what the kid. Yeah, it's Nick Wayne. Why did I write Nick Carter? Who is us? The kid from NSYNC. What was I thinking about? Anyway, after the match, Luchasaurus jumped Swerve Strickland. I was like, oh boy, he's about to get beat up again. Then Swerve Strickland actually fought him off, and then he actually confronted Christian and chased him out of the arena. He chased Christian. Christian tried to steal a car because it's Grand Theft Auto. And then as he's pulling off, Prince Nana cut him off, and Christian got beat up by Swerve Strickland. I was like, okay, they got a good pop for the Prince Nana thing. That was interesting. That was really good. Of course, it begs the question, how did Prince Nana know he was going to be there? But who cares? We're not going to ask these silly questions. Just going to take things as they come. Christian getting beat up right before the show. Okay. Swerve getting treated like shit. Ever since he won the title, he been getting treated like a mid-carder. Even this was in the middle of the goddamn card. I didn't see why he needed to wrestle Nick Wayne on this show. He could have wrestled him 2 weeks ago instead of wrestling, this guy now. Whatever. Why run the risk? After you had Eddie Kingston tear up his legs, why would you run the risk of anybody wrestling in these matches on these shows at this point when it's not necessary? I would want to protect my talent, but whatever. I'm not interested in Christian Cage versus Swerve. I was interested at first, but now not so much. I don't know. It's just, it lost its luster very quickly to me. What I did like, though, Malachi Black defeating Kyle O'Reilly. I'm not a big fan of Kyle O'Reilly. I think he's kind of boring, but I was interested in this because I had not seen a Malachi Black singles match in over a year, it seems. I think this might have been his first singles match in like 2 years or whatever. And I think it was fairly solid. Some really solid strikes from these guys. They worked really hard. Malachi Black wins the match, of course. It's a good setup for his match against Edge at the pay-per-view. So I enjoyed this. I thought this was good. Kyle O'Reilly is a good warm-up opponent for Malachi Black. And Malachi Black needed a warm-up opponent. So this is one of the few times where I would say a guy wrestling before the pay-per-view was actually pretty good. So after the match, Malachi Black is subjected to a taste of his own medicine. The lights go out. The lights are blinking. And then he gets a bloodbath. The old brewed bloodbath. I popped. Huge pop for this. Edge comes out there. Well, he's on the Tron, and he says, be careful what you wish for. And it's just like I said, right? They're going to do Vampire Edge with no edge. So he's just going to be Vampire Cope, which doesn't make sense. He's going to be Brood Cope, because that's a thing. Brood Cope is a thing. I like this. I like the Malachi Black Kyle O'Reilly match. I like the bloodbath. I like Edge going back into the bag because, Malachi Black wants this. He's asking for it. He's begging for it. So I'm all for all of this. This is right up my alley. This is good shit right here. The best shit on the show is right here. This is good shit. Next, Toni Storm and Mariah May defeat Saraya and Harley Cameron. There was kissing in this match. That was the only thing I got to say about it. Is there was kissing. I was interested in that. But watching Saraya wrestle in 2024, please. Watching Saraya wrestle, period. Her body looked like she made out of matchsticks. And Harley Cameron made it on TV 3 weeks in a row. Hey, she's been on TV. Now, I know, Powerhouse Hobbs is injured. But before he was injured, he wasn't on this TV this much. Wardlow wasn't on this TV this much. Look, Harley Cameron is hot. I mean, she's hot as a used pistol. But, do we need a third Harley Cameron match on this show? No. Didn't need that. Afterwards, Toni Storm is assaulted by Serena Deeb, who also assaulted Luther with a chair. Deeb then stabs Toni Storm in the face with the heel of her shoe, and then put her in a single leg Boston Crab while she was sitting in a chair. The crowd is booing Serena Deeb, the woman who had seizures and fought from underneath to get back to this job. She's being booed, and that's because she's not interesting, and Toni Storm is. Oh my goodness. I can't wait for the debate between Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer over this thing, because now Deeb is, she's turned heel. She stabbed Toni Storm in the face with the heel of her shoe, and all Toni Storm did was take her stupid flag. Like, all she did was take her flag and undress underneath it, which is not the most offensive thing you could do to somebody. But I see that, Deeb is serious and she wants to be taken serious, and Toni Storm is goofing off with the flag and everything. I get why they did it. Just weird. So is this have some of that good situational babyface heel booking, where the babyface decided, I'm the baby, I'm going to stab you in the face with the heel of my shoe? It's like, that's a bit excessive, that's a little excessive. But this is probably the right arrangement, is to make Toni Storm the babyface, but it throws off the story that they were telling. The story they were telling was about Toni Storm being an uppity movie star, a washed up movie star. And Mariah May was supposed to be like her understudy that was going to replace her, even though they're probably like 2 or 3 years apart. And, I know Toni's got like a lot more experience, but their story is about to get blown up because they don't know how to keep babyfaces and heels, straight. They don't know how to book people. Also, I don't remember seeing Mercedes on this show. Maybe it was when I went to the bathroom, she showed up, but I didn't see Mercedes on this show at all, her or Willow. So they didn't touch on at all on somebody getting put through a chair. I mean, put through a table. I wish he had put through a chair. That might have been more interesting. So, look, I like the Kyle O'Reilly Malachi Black thing. As I said, I like the bloodbath. I like the flamethrower. The rest of this show, either nothing to write home about or basura. So let's get into the Double or Nothing predictions. As of this recording, AEW Double or Nothing has 9 matches. 9. Oh my goodness. And it is hailing from the MGM Grand Garden Arena from Paradise, Nevada. It will be airing May the 26th. That will be Sunday. The same Sunday, the day after King and Queen of the Ring. I'm pretty sure Tony Khan's going to whine about that. They always cry when WWE has an event the same weekend or whatever that they have an event. They always bitch. According to WrestleTix, the most recent WrestleTix update is from May the 10th. They set up the arena for 7,067. And they sold or distributed 6,040. So they got about 1,000 tickets left. This, of course, again, is from almost 2 weeks ago. So it could be a completely different number. But I just went and did a quick look. Less than 10,000 for the arena. I don't know that that's exactly good, but, it's in line with what they've been doing for Dynamites and Collision and all that kind of stuff. But you would think this show was going to be more expensive, but whatever. This is I think they do every Double or Nothing in Nevada. So, and it's been at the same arena, I think. So, let's get into this thing. 9 matches. Oh, Lordy, Lordy, Lord. Help me, Jesus. Roderick Strong versus Will Ospreay. AEW International Championship. Will Ospreay is going to win. There really is not much to debate here. Will Ospreay losing to Roderick Strong? I've seen some people say that he probably should lose, which, mirrors my sentiments, is that he probably needs to lose at some point to create some level of intrigue in his matches, because if he's just going to steamroll everybody, I think people are going to be less interested in his matches because they're not that exciting. They're like 40 minutes a piece, you know. I don't know where we got the idea that if a movie is 4 hours, it's the best movie. It's ridiculous. Next, Timeless Toni Storm versus Serena Deeb for the AEW Women's Championship. There's no way Deeb's winning this belt, man. Forget it. Timeless Toni Storm is going to win. As she should. Like, I like Serena Deeb, but it really doesn't make any sense for her to win the title here. It's just, why break Toni Storm's momentum? They need to, well, technically she should have momentum, but when you don't know whether she's a babyface or a heel that week, it kind of screws things up. So I guess if she's a babyface, they need a heel for her to wrestle. But who could that be? I don't know. Maybe Mariah May. Who knows? All right, barbed wire steel cage match. Adam Copeland, a.k.a. Edge, versus Malachi Black. I like this. AEW TNT Championship. Barbed wire steel cage. I'm excited about this. It is, it's going to be an interesting contest. I know Malachi Black is going to bring his A game for this. Edge is one of his heroes. He talked about this when Edge returned at the Royal Rumble, that how excited he was to see Edge. So I know he's going to bring his A game for this. He's going to, if he's got anything left in his body, I know he's my age. He's about 40. He's going to bring it. And Edge, if he's got anything left, he's going to bring it too. I don't expect the barbed wire to matter that much. This seems to me like it's going to be one of those things where the barbed wire is at the top of the cage to keep people from getting into the ring. I don't think there's going to be barbed wire like on the links or barbed wire in the ring. I don't think either one of these guys really want to do that. I don't think either one of them want to do that. If it were me, I probably would put the belt on Malachi Black. We don't know how long this guy's got left. They said he signed a 5-year contract. This was in 2020, maybe. So, sheesh. Why would you sign a 5-year contract, brother? This is not the NFL. That's a little long for a wrestling contract, brother. A lot of the fans are starting to turn on him. Clearly, they turned on him for a long time, think that he wants to get out of there, which is just whispers. I haven't heard anything from him to say he was ready to get out of there or not. But now is the time for him to earn his keep. I think Malachi Black should win the title here because there's nobody for Edge to lose it to that's going to matter. This is an opportunity for Malachi Black, a guy who came in with much fanfare. Came in, knocked Cody out almost immediately, won that match, went on to do some somewhat cool stuff, and then got yanked into the trios division for 3 years, or obscurity for even longer. It's time to get some money out of this fucking guy. So I would have Malachi Black beat Edge and be the TNT champion. And you should start somebody, preferably immediately, that can take this belt from Malachi Black. But I would probably put it on Malachi Black. It would help if Edge didn't lose it to Christian for so long. But Edge doesn't need the belt anyway. It's not really elevating him. He's elevated the belt. And he's had it for a little while now. Have him drop it to Malachi Black. And then let Malachi Black carry it for a while. Make as much money as you can off of him. And if he's about to go, then cash out and have him, a young guy beat him. Or even if he's choosing to stick around. Get what you can out of this guy as a singles act, and then have a young guy beat him. I still think that it makes no sense for Edge to lose the belt to somebody else. He should lose it to Malachi Black, and then Malachi Black carries the belt and loses to somebody else. Okay. Championship eliminator match. Jon Moxley versus Kazuchika Takeshita. This is stupid. Why is this not a title match? Is there a good reason why this is not a title match? Because Takeshita doesn't work in New Japan? Is that what's the issue here? Or if he wins, he gets a championship match. Brother, it's stupid. So are you telling me that Takeshita is going to win this match? Because that would be the only reason you wouldn't put the belt on the line, is if Takeshita is going to beat him and then going to challenge him for the title down the line. Which is, I guess, wrestling booking, but it's stupid. Moxley is running around with a belt. Takeshita wants the belt. He doesn't just want to wrestle Moxley for the love of the game. He wants the championship, for God's sake. And if you were going to do an eliminator match just cause, you could have did this on TV. So, who really cares who wins? I mean, the title's not on the line, but I expect Moxley will win. I don't really see them beating the New Japan champion. But then again, I could also see them wanting to make Takeshita a big deal. And so having him beat Moxley, even in a fluke way, in order to get that title match they could book on TV. Or, well, no, it would have to be on TV because it'd be too far away for it to be like All Out or All In or something. Trent Beretta versus Orange Cassidy. This match, nope. These guys just fought for starters. Secondly, I don't want to see these people. I don't want to see small-foot European guys. I don't want to see gangly, small-foot American guys. Get these people the fuck out of here, man. Like, pay them to sit at home, brother. Replace them with somebody. Get some new blood in here. It's time for these guys to go. Man. I don't care who wins. Chris Jericho versus Hook versus Katsuyori Shibata. FTW rules for the FTW Championship. Well, I suspect Hook and Shibata are going to get in each other's way, and Jericho is going to win. So, there's that. It's time for Hook to move on. Shibata, can't believe he's still here. Just can't believe he's still hanging around, man. Whatever. I don't know what you do with Jericho. Jericho he's in a position where he can help talent, but he can't help if he keeps losing, and he certainly can't help if he keeps winning. So, I'm not sure how to book this. Like, who the fuck else wants this belt that other than Hook? Like, nobody else wants it, really. So, it's like he won it. Now he's got it. He's going to have it might as well have a run with it, but if he doesn't lose it to Hook, who's he going to lose it to? Nobody else wants it. Nobody else cares about this damn thing. I don't know, man. It's confusing to me. So I'm going to go with Jericho. Match 7, Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Moné, a.k.a. Sasha Banks. Big Boss Banks is going to win the belt here. She got put through a table, which was supposed to give you a false sense of security that big girl Willow was going to have a chance. Even though I prefer Willow, I like Willow. Everybody's been very angry at Mercedes Moné. Everybody's very angry at her. They didn't think that she's worth anything. I think you're in the same boat that you're in with Malachi Black. You've already set the table. You got to give the belt to Mercedes, and you got to see where it goes. To be quite honest, this Mercedes wrestling for this mid-card belt literally doesn't make any sense. Nobody thinks that this is the equal of the world title. I understand maybe why you would want to put somebody like Will Ospreay or Mercedes Moné on the secondary belt as a way of making sure that their segments draw without them taking away from the main event talent or the talent that you were trying to make. Like you're trying to really not ruin Tony Storm's momentum or try not to ruin the momentum of Swerve. So you try to make them the secondary champion. But star power is as star power does. And it doesn't matter what you do with it. If the person carrying the belt is a bigger star than the other person carrying the belt, then they might as well be the main event. It's like when John Cena was, doing the United States Championship stuff. He was still eating up a lot of time. And he was still a bigger star than whoever the world champion was. So it doesn't matter what you do by trying to put the middle card belts on these people. They're still going to end up being bigger stars. They're still going to have, more impressive segments and stuff like this. And they're still going to be the ones that the people are going to beat you over the head when you don't do something right. I think having Willow win would just completely destroy anything you got going with Mercedes. So she got to win. How do you have Willow bounce back? Well, you had Willow bounce back by having... what's the name? Chris Statlander. have Chris Statlander return and join Mercedes. And I don't know if it's a stable or just the two of them doing their thing. And you use that to explain why Willow lost. That way Willow can maintain her momentum and she can have a spinoff feud where she has this thing going with Chris Statlander and they can work each other. And then maybe you loop back around to Willow and Mercedes down the line and you can have Willow win the belt back. But Mercedes cannot lose her first match in the company for a championship, which is probably, I know she probably couldn't wrestle before, but she can't lose her first match for it, which is stupid. So it would do you, it would waste all your money if she was to lose her first match, because then people would be like, oh, okay, so you're literally retarded and you're booking for an audience of one. It's like, everybody wants to see what you can do here. You got big stars served up on your plate. What do you do with it? You gotta go ahead and do some follow through here. Poor Willow though, because she's been doing a good job. Match 8, Anarchy in the Arena. The Elite versus Danielson, Wheeler, Harwood, and Darby Allin. Nothing seems to be on the line here, so who cares who wins? I want to go with the Elite winning because it seems to be more in service to the gimmick. Like, if the Elite lose, do they lose authority already? No, because their authority is not on the line. That has to be something that Tony Khan does, similar to what was that? What was that Survivor Series where it was Bischoff versus Austin and the loser had to go? Like, if that was this kind of situation where it was the Elite and they were trying to lead some kind of revolution to oust Tony Khan, and they put their EVP ship on the line versus Tony Khan's power, and if they win, they become the ultimate authority of AEW, or if they lose, they're out. I think that would probably be a bigger draw. They wouldn't do it because their egos wouldn't allow them to lose and not make decisions, but whatever. Since nothing's on the line here, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Elite. And I just don't see any good reason why the other team should win. I just don't see any good reason why Danielson's team wins. It's like, for what? To do what exactly? It doesn't seem to go anywhere. It doesn't go any further if they win. So they have to lose. And I think they want to elevate Jack Perry and Okada. So Perry and Okada coming out on the winning side seems to make more sense. The final match, match 9, Swerve Strickland versus Christian Cage. AEW World Title. Clearly, Christian Cage is not going to win this world title. It doesn't make sense for them to switch the belt. It doesn't even make sense for them to tease like they're going to switch the belt. Swerve is going to win. This show is going to be extremely long. It could probably... WWE shows don't have enough matches. These have too many. Maybe there has to be a happy medium of about 6 matches. And not every match needs to be 40 minutes, which is the problem with AEW shows. Not only are there 9 matches, but they're 15 minutes apiece, which is a damn disaster. But they feel like they're screwing the talent if the talent doesn't get to have their 50-50 booking. So it is what it is. This show is going to need something major coming out of it in order to get the momentum right, because the company as it sits right now, there's nothing, not a thing, that I see them doing on this show that's going to make people want to watch Dynamite next week. I don't see anything that's going to make you want to watch Dynamite next week. The only other option is you need a return, like a Kenny Omega to show back up, or MJF or somebody, in order to get people excited for Dynamite next week. Otherwise, brother, this thing is just going to go right into the ground. It's going to go right into the endless pit of great matches, no consequences. Nothing matters, which is typical AEW. But Let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Yeah. We just